Taking a look at the MVP odds entering this season, we had Josh Allen. He was the favorite at plus 650. Patrick Mahomes next on that list, with Justin Herbert and Tom Brady following up at plus 900. Little old versus new continues. Aaron Rodgers squeaked ahead of Joe Burrow, followed by some savvy vets there. Always fun to see the preseason odds versus how it all plays out. And here we are with Brady Quinn getting his take on the award winners and who it should be for this season. So we are going to start with the MVP. Josh Allen was the preseason favorite, but who do you like to take home the honor?
It's going to be Patrick Mahomes. I mean, if you think about the narrative coming into this season, right? Tyreek Hill traded Miami Dolphins. You're looking at the Kansas City Chiefs saying, can Patrick Mahomes replicate what we've seen him do in the past? And in fact, he's done kind of one better. He led the league in passing yards. He actually set a record for a single season for scrimmage yards. Wasn't able to beat Peyton Manning's passing yards, but if you combine his rushing yards, passing yards, he had the most scrimmage yards ever in an NFL season. Now, granted, he did have an additional game, so that kind of helps. But led the league in touchdown passes, and I think if you look at just overcoming what he lost in a guy like Tyreek Hill and being able to develop that sort of chemistry, really not losing a beat at all with all the different pass catchers that they got on this roster and the dazzling plays, time and time again, you watch it week after week. He deserves to be the MVP until someone else is able to prove otherwise.
Yeah, it was funny because he was talking to the media about it. He said last time that I won the Super Bowl, NFL MVP, his life was completely different. He was a rookie. He said it's my first year starting. I just assumed that this is what happens. You go, you win, you win MVP.
To that point too, I think like he's almost a victim of his own success because then everyone held him that standard where, hey, he threw 50 touchdown passes. If he doesn't throw 50 touchdown passes, he shouldn't win the MVP. And in this case, I think you look at him set a record now for the most scrimmage yards in a single season. Now everyone's like, well, he should be MVP. It's like every single year you could almost make the case for him being the MVP. He's really played at that high of a level his entire career.
He did say, though, if he does win this year and makes it to the Super Bowl, he's going to have such a greater appreciation for that, just coming off of, the perspective of how tough it is to do this job. All right, next up, we have Offensive Player of the Year. Who do you like?
I'm going to go with Justin Jefferson, outstanding wide receiver for the Minnesota Vikings. Look, he leads the league in receiving yards. He leads the league in receptions. And to me, what makes it so fascinating is when you see a guy like that, where every single time you see one of these game plans, teams are trying to take him away. They're either putting their best cornerback on him, they're bracketing him, putting two guys on him at times. He's still getting open. He's still making plays. He's still impacting the game. So he's the best wide receiver in the game right now. I know other receivers would like to take that title, but I think Justin Jefferson, with his production every single week, has earned becoming the Offensive Player of the Year.
Jefferson set a new NFL record for most receptions by a player in his first 3 seasons in the league, which he overtook from Michael Thomas back in 2018. So he's out there doing his thing. All right, defensive side, Defensive Player of the Year. Who do you like?
I think coming into the season, especially early on, you thought, all right, Aaron Donald's always a part of that conversation. You can maybe make the case, but he gets banged up this year. Really opened the door for a number of players. Micah Parsons was a guy I think started the year on fire, but then it's been Nick Bosa, who now leads the league in sacks. He's a part of the #1 defense, and he's a big reason why. He seems at times almost unstoppable. So for me, when you look at what he's been able to do and how he closed out the season, especially with Brock Purdy as a rookie quarterback, that defense shutting teams down, it's been in large part due to the destructiveness of Nick Bosa. So to me, he's the Defensive Player of the Year. I think there's a case to make a debate for some other guys, but he's mine.
Micah Parsons, he was a betting favorite for most of the season. Cowboys defense has fallen up a little bit as of late, so we'll check it out there. All right, next up, Coach of the Year. I feel like this is a little bit of a tight battle.
Tough.
A lot of people have different opinions.
You could, and you can throw in different guys for different reasons, right? You could look at Sean McDermott and everything that they've been through this season, especially when you look at the DeMar Hamlin situation and how he's handled that. There's a lot of coaches you could throw into this conversation. I'm looking at a team, though, that I think coming into the season was a big question mark and not high aspirations for, given their lack of success in recent years. That's the New York Giants. And if you look at the job that Brian Daboll has done, taking it from a 4-win team to a 9-win team that's made the playoffs, and let's be honest, they didn't start Daniel Jones and their starters in that Week 18 game. They started backups, so maybe they could have had 10 wins when it was all said and done versus Philly in that final matchup. But that being said, he's been the difference. I mean, look at that string of years of lack of success. Brian Daboll gets there in 1 year's time and is able to turn things around, maximize the ability of Daniel Jones, play to the strengths of their offense, feeding Saquon Barkley in a variety of ways, and then allowing their defense to go out there too and play like a better unit the way it has. He's been the high tide that's raised all boats there for the Giants.
Yeah, it seems like he's really established a new culture there in New York, and it's all working out for them as of now. All right, rookies. It's time for the rookies. First up, we're going to do Offensive Rookie of the Year.
Okay. We don't need to leave New York. I mean, take
okay,
a
let's keep it
So
there.
we're just going to stay on the Jets because Garrett Wilson has been incredible. The first-round pick out of Ohio State. He leads rookies in receiving yards, and he's been their number one wide receiver. And you look at the stats he's putting up, this is despite playing with Zach Wilson, Joe Flacco, Mike White. I mean, rotating quarterbacks. It doesn't matter who's behind center. He's the guy they go to. He's the guy when things broke down, they're throwing the ball up to downfield, and Garrett Wilson was making plays. This young man was NFL ready back during his time at Ohio State. He demonstrated even more of that this past year. He deserves to win Offensive Rookie of the Year.
What about on the defensive side of the ball? It seems like everyone kind of has a favorite in this one.
Well, that's the thing is I just want to watch these two in practice because I'm on the other side of the Jets on defense now. Sauce Gardner. He's been phenomenal. You know, their first-round pick has been a lockdown cornerback. Got a couple interceptions this year. Started all 17 games, by the way. But 20 passes defended, which actually leads the league. And it's got to a point where teams didn't even look his way. I mean, you'd be watching game film thinking, is Sauce Gardner out there? Is he healthy? Because they're not even throwing at him. He's tall, he's long, he's physical, he's got great ball skills and a high football IQ. So he recognizes based on the splits and pattern matches really where the football is going to go. So another guy that, you know, they used to have this guy named Darrell Revis, you know, they call it Revis Island there.
Yeah, we've heard of him.
We got to figure out something for Sauce because he's on an island on his own the rest of his career. He's that good of a player. I would have loved to see him in a Rex Ryan scheme to see all the different things that Rex could have done with him, ISOing him up in the best receiver and then letting the other 10 players go play defense.
With a name like Sauce, I'm pretty sure the New York faithful will come up with something really creative with that one. You mentioned it, though. League high 20 passes defended. He also recorded 75 tackles, 2 interceptions. So he's really improved the Jets, and he's a fun player to watch, too.
He's a ton of fun to watch. The one thing that, too, I got to give him a compliment is, you know, it's one thing to shut down a receiver with the way he plays in press man or even off coverage and how he makes things uncomfortable. Watching him as a quarterback, he makes me feel uncomfortable. Like that was one of the greatest things I used to say about Darrell Revis too, is the way he'd play, especially in off-zone coverage, where he had eyes on you but eyes on the receiver, and he'd make you feel like, I don't think I should throw this over there.
I want this.
And that's how Sauce Gardner makes a lot of quarterbacks feel. So it's a compliment to his game, and really I think the work that he puts in during the course of the week, watching film and understanding what that offense is trying to accomplish.
Brady, thank you so much. The hardware, it'll be handed out on February 9th at 9 p.m. But if you're looking for more NFL news and analysis, we've got you covered. You got to look no further than the Pick 6 podcast. Our guys, they're getting you up to speed each day in about 30 minutes. Our latest pod, all about Super Wildcard Weekend, picks against the spread, best bets, predictions, and previews. Check it out, guys.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.